Welcome, everyone, to episode 120 of the Greg's World podcast. This is my audio journal where I share the behind the scenes in my life as though I don't already share enough of it. But this is just where I sit down and I talk about all the things that maybe or maybe didn't make it in videos and my thoughts and feelings and all that fun stuff. And I'm happy to have you along. There's probably about a 90% chance that you're watching this on YouTube, but if you would like to take this with you on the go without using any data, you can listen to this on Apple Podcasts and also on Spotify and every other platform that no one else uses, but it's an option. So if you're going to go do some epic stuff, take me along with you and I'll be in your ear holes talking your ear off about things and stuff. So let's jump into this. Last week, I left you guys off with my 1,000-day journey. What can I accomplish in the next 1,000 days? And we are now a week into it. And I'm happy to announce that I have been putting the grind in to at least documenting it. I can't say that I've made any like groundbreaking discoveries in myself or like really gone to the next level with my goals, but it's like every day I've decided that I'm going to film what I'm doing that day, and it holds me accountable because it's like, all right, Greg, what are you going to accomplish today? What is it that you're going to do? And many of those days, unfortunately, it seems to be video editing. It's a double-edged sword making these videos. It's like, I love it. I love documenting. I love having the story. But then, the next morning, it's going to take a little bit of time. And by a little bit of time, I mean a few hours to kind of craft that into what it needs to be. So that like sucks up a little bit of the next day. And oftentimes my videos tend to be just like, hey, I'm editing. Hey, I edited a video from yesterday. So I'm thinking about like maybe cutting like some of that out. You can just assume that I'm editing videos when like hours of days pass by and you don't know like what happened during that time frame. And that's like another thing I've been debating on a little bit as I find my way in this world of daily vlogging again. Do I want to document everything like boom, 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 like that? Or do I want to be like, here's the big takeaway from today. Here's the improvement that I made today. Here is the really cool thing that happened today. I'm not really sure, but I've kind of decided that I'm just going to kind of see how it goes. And whatever I'm feeling in that day, that's what I'm going to do. Like if I want to share everything in a day, I'm going to do that. And those ones I tend to like the most because it really does like bring you along on the story. And I'm just so darn passionate about this. I just wish I had more time to do all the things that I love to do, because not only am I doing the vlogs on a daily basis, which I love, I'm also doing my white balance is changing significantly here with the color temperature outside as it's starting to get a little cloudy. So if you're watching this, it's, it is what it is. This is an audio presentation. Turn this off. Just the video, not the audio. Stay with me. We'll get through this. I'm also making Lego videos, which another thing I love to do. And Clark and we just been cranking out the builds and it's been so much fun. So I'm like filming those videos and like the footage is kind of like blurring the lines between like, where's the vlog? Where's the Lego thing? Where does this stop? What do I include? But I'm doing like both things. I'm just trying to show like I'm actually getting something accomplished each day. And that's like my main goal. And that's something that in this 1,000 days, I really want to focus on. I don't want to just be a guy that's making videos and like editing them. I don't want that to be my life's work. I want it to be like the things that happen within those videos, not just the videos themselves. So that's going to be a challenge for me. I need to really figure out what my goals are and where I want to go with it. And I think that's something that we're all trying to figure out. But I feel like the main things in my life are figure out my direction professionally here on YouTube. Like, where do I want to focus my time? How do I want to do that? And I think I have that under a pretty good wraps. And then I guess just like self-improvement, whether it be reading, learning new things, physical improvements and such. That's the kind of stuff that I want to accomplish in the next 2 years and 8 months or so, whatever 995 days is or whatever we're at right now. That's where I want to go. So I'll hopefully get that narrowed down a little bit and really be able to show that to you going forward. But week 1, I'm pretty happy with. Other than like a few days, I think a part of it's the weather. I don't know if you've ever felt like, the weather kind of gets you down. Like there's been a few days where it was just like super rainy and cold each day. And I don't know if it was because I was kind of tired or what it was, but I just didn't have the ambition or the something to like really want to be productive. So I find myself just kind of like maybe being in not like the greatest mood because of it, or just like going on the couch and watching shows, which I'll talk to you about one show that I really love this week later on. But I want to talk about something else that's been consuming my time too. And this is actually probably my greatest achievement this week of all the things that I've done. I think the thing that I'm most proud of is the fact that I started journaling. I haven't journaled in years and years. In fact, I started doing it on, I forget what the app was. I think it was called Evernote. And I did it in 2012 or 13 or something like that. Every day I would just write like a little blurb about what I did that day. And most of the days I was at work. So it wasn't like that exciting. A lot of the stuff was work related. But I was like, you know what? If I'm doing this 1,000 days, I'd really like to not only just have the videos, but like more of a behind the scenes type thing where I would just like almost like a Missing Pieces or like a Greg's World podcast where I would really talk about like personal stuff, like what you're going to find here or what you have found here in the last 119 episodes that I've sat down to record this. So I decided to dust off my old Patreon page, something that I literally didn't touch for exactly 5 years prior to April 4th. That was the day, my 1,000th day was April 4th, 2022. And I was like, it'd be kind of cool just to post everything there. So I went over there and I was like, oh my gosh, it was exactly 5 years ago today that I did anything here. And if you guys want the background on this Greg's World Patreon thing that you've probably never heard of, because I've never promoted, it wasn't even, I didn't even have it in the description of my videos or anything. I think at its peak in 2017, I think I had 6 patrons and I think it was generating about $35 a month. And yeah, it was pretty wildly successful. But what I did this week is I went in, and as much as it pained me to do it, I deleted all the old posts. There wasn't much there, and there was no way to like make them like private or whatever. So I just deleted all the old posts and I started from scratch. And I just made like my little manifesto there on my 1,000 days. And I decided that what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to start posting stuff there, whether it be a journal entry, whether it be a video that didn't make it onto Greg's World, maybe something a little more personal or just like a little extra thing that I want to share, or a photo or extra podcast audio, whatever it is. Like that's just going to be like my little extra place to put stuff. And before you go over there and think that I need your generosity and things and donating and that, I certainly don't need that. This is just like, this is for me. I'm keeping everything there public, so you don't have to be a patron to go see the stuff there. You can go look at it right now. In fact, I think I'm going to do a post right after this of a video that it was about 6 minutes long where I talked about how sometimes when you record things, that like that part of the day, for example, you don't capture the thing that really was like the takeaway from that day. And that sometimes happens off camera. So I have like a 6-minute conversation with myself where I talk about that. And I didn't feel like it really fit into the video that I edited today. I was like, this isn't it. So I'm just going to put that over there and you can watch that if you want to. You're more than welcome to. I'm not going to promote this at all. There's a link in the description on all my videos. I just have it there as like an automated thing. I think it says like join Greg's 1,000-day journey, and it's a link to Patreon. But I'm never going to tell people like go support me on Patreon. I'm never going to say like go over and check it out. I feel like the people that want to find it will find it, right? If they want to. And the cool thing is, like, I was just writing to myself for a few days. Someone did find it. And we have our first patron over there, Jesse. Thank you for being someone to see my writings. It's been super rewarding. I love writing a journal. I don't really write much. I'm a video guy, right? I'm saying write a lot. That was a different form of write. But my strength isn't in video. It isn't presenting myself on video. My strength is in writing. It really is. Like I should have been a blogger, not a vlogger. But I don't know. I don't think that's quite as engaging, but I enjoy it. So I've been writing little entries over there and stuff like that. And it's been fun. I'm going to try to do a little something each day. I think yesterday was I missed yesterday, but I'm going to do like a double post today, or it's going to be the video along with something that I'm going to write along with it to kind of make up for it. So we'll just do like day 997/day 996 or whatever. And I'm going to do my best to kind of keep up with things over there and post stuff. I'm also trying to remember to take more photos of things. Being a video guy, and I think my most recent post on there was about this. Being a video guy, I often neglect the world of photography. I'm not really into the Instagram and stuff like that. For me, like Instagram is just a place of self-promotion and people just trying to push their stuff on you. Like link in bio, click this. I'm just not interested. That's my wife texting me. Where was I before I was so rudely interrupted? Oh, I guess I was just finishing up that whole conversation about having like this place to post and how much I enjoy writing the journal articles, and we'll have just like a little bit of everything there, I feel like. And again, this isn't for profit. I'm never going to tell you to go over there for any reason other than if you just are interested in checking it out. In fact, I don't even want to tell you that. I kind of want to keep it private. I find that most things, like, I guess I'd feel more comfortable if not many people were over there. But there is, I guess, a bigger part of this where I think it would be cool to kind of build this, because you could be thinking like, well, Greg, why don't you just like put it onto a notepad or something, or do it on your computer. And there is this part of me that like does want to share this, because I feel like there could be something to gain from it. I do want to keep it free, but maybe someday, like as we build this audience up, or if people are interested in that over there could be a time when, as Clark gets older, and I've considered this, maybe he won't be necessarily as comfortable with sharing personal stuff on YouTube. And I understand that, like, as you maybe become an older kid or a teenager, you're not going to want to like put yourself out there. So I thought, you know what, there could be a day where instead of entertaining millions of people like we are now on a monthly basis, maybe we'll entertain 100 people on a monthly basis. And that will just be it. And I'm okay with that. Clark, man, I think he's currently at an age where I don't think he fully understands that concept necessarily. Like, oh, this is going out to people, and like he had a kid come up to him at recess and say that he likes our videos, and I'm like, okay, that's cool now, but what happens if kids start like making fun of him for the videos? Not that like there's anything that could be made fun of. Like, it's just us having a good time. The only thing that really could come out of it is maybe being jealous that we have, I think, a really great bond, and maybe they don't have that. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, like this, in my opinion, our channel, and what I hope our channel is a blueprint for people, whether you're a kid or a parent or together, as we'll find out here in listener feedback, which is making a comeback today. Like, this is a blueprint for how families can bond together and like enjoy each other, which I don't know if that happens a lot these days. So like, I want to be that. But if that being shared publicly gets to be an issue in any way, then it stops. And the videos that are out now, they go dark. And that's just the way it is, and that's fine. It would be sad for me, I guess, because I really love doing this. But you know, life has chapters, and we've seen the chapters as they roll on. This 1,000-day thing, I feel like that's my next chapter. What's going to be the chapter after that? Who knows? But I hope you're here with me, wherever here is. Another thing that I started doing this week, I guess here's another accomplishment that I did, or another improvement, because I do consider this improvement. I moved my gaming streams over to Twitch. Prior to this, I've been live streaming video game play on my Greg's Arcade channel I just went back and looked. I've been doing pretty consistently for almost a year now, which is just crazy. And I made the mistake this last weekend. Like, I've been thinking more about this path that I'm on, or building this bridge to wherever my future is. And I was thinking about gaming and how much I enjoy it, and how I think that's going to be a big part of my future with Clark, man. In fact, like, that would be way easier to share than sharing like personal events in our life or things that we're doing in our life, because it's not quite as personal, you know? So I could see that being a big thing in the future. And I sat down this weekend and I was like, you know, these gaming streams, as much as I enjoy doing them, they don't seem like they're very profitable. And as much as I'm doing a lot of the stuff I do just because it's my hobby and also it earns money, I need to start thinking more like a businessman. And I'm like, okay, let's take all of my streams for the last couple weeks and let's average the time that I streamed out by the amount of revenue that I got, whether it be through advertising revenue or super chats or memberships or whatever. And let's just see where we stand. And I did that. And it turns out that through my gaming streams, I earn approximately $1.15 per hour. And you might be thinking, Greg, that's fantastic. Like, I play video games 50 hours a week and I get paid nothing for that. You're a lucky man. And for that, I can understand that and I can respect that. But again, I need to think like, okay, I have X number of hours in a week to accomplish the things that I want to do, whether it be personal or business wise. And how do I want to devote those hours? Is spending 2 hours playing a video game today on a live stream, is that worth the $2.30 that I would make by doing that? And I think we can all agree that if you went into a job and they said that they were going to pay you $1.15 per hour before taxes, I'm sure you would laugh. You would laugh in their face and you would promptly turn away, which is what I did from YouTube, at least for streaming. I moved my stuff over to Twitch, which Twitch is like, that's what it's there for. It's for gaming streams. And I've done it before and I had some success before, but what discouraged me was that it's hard to move your audience over to Twitch. Like, the YouTube people, they don't want to come over to Twitch. But the beauty of Twitch is that while it is a smaller audience there, the people that watch Twitch streams tend to be more supportive of the creators that they watch. They know like the revenue stream on Twitch is through subscriptions, which is like becoming a member or a Patreon person elsewhere, like whether it be YouTube or Patreon. And it's through like donations and stuff like that. That's how people make a living on Twitch. So if you're going to spend time streaming, you almost have to think of it like a tip structure. Like, hey, if you're enjoying the stream, you become a subscriber, which I think is like $5 a month or whatever. And then you kind of just keep building from there. And I did that for a bit, but then I was like, as much as we're, making here, I'm not really reaching that many people. And I wish I would have like just kept building it from there, because I came back to YouTube after that, and I just haven't seen any results here on YouTube, like streaming. Video wise, YouTube does really well. Live streams though, and I've talked about this before on this podcast, people don't come to YouTube for live streams. YouTube doesn't promote live streams. It's hard to find live streams on YouTube. Like to actually go in and type in whatever your thing is that you love and then type in the word live stream, you have to go through like multiple filters to even find it. It's just not conducive to doing that. So I decided that I'm going to go over to Twitch. I'm going to do my streams there. And all the video footage is recorded on my computer. So if anything funny happens, or if there's like a highlight, I'm going to make that a regular YouTube video and put it onto my gaming channel with like a promotion to come over to Twitch if you want to see it live. And so far I've streamed like 3 nights, and I now have more subscribers in 3 hours of streaming than I did on a whole year of YouTube live streams. We're talking like a whole year versus 3 hours. It's nutty. I don't know if it's going to continue going from there. I think it's just like the hardcore people came over, but I think it's worth building. I think it's much easier to be found. And I think if this is going to be a bridge that I'm building, the bridge is much better to get built on a platform that's what you do there than it is on a platform where it's like a side thing. It's not even a side thing. It's like bottom tier. So I'm going to build that there, keep putting cool videos out on Greg's Arcade. So that's my 3rd channel. And, just see what comes of it, because I really enjoy that stuff. And most of the times it's just Clark and I playing anyway. So it's like, why not record it? And yeah, try to make, I guess, some financial sense out of spending the time on it. Because for me, like, it's not all about that, obviously. Like, I do a lot of things that don't make sense financially, but I need to start thinking more about that as I develop all of this. And you got to develop it in the right place. You got to pick your poison, so to speak. And my Twitch is my poison, I guess, for now. So I'll keep you updated on that and how it goes. I think there will be some good success to come from it, especially if I stay consistent with it. And maybe if we develop a schedule or something each day, especially with Clarkman coming off this summer, we could have 11 to 12 each day could be like our thing, or maybe in the evening or whatever. Make it something fun and see what it grows into. So I started this episode off like kind of contemplating what my accomplishments were this week, at 1 week into my 1,000 days. And I guess those are 2 decent things that I've done. I started journaling, which is going to be good for me. And I think it's like a nice bonus for you, especially the Missing Pieces audience. And then the Twitch thing was, I think, going to be a good financial move for me going forward, but that remains to be seen. I'm just trying to do the best thing that I can without really anyone to consult with on these things. Like you're kind of in a unique position when you do this kind of stuff. But you can learn from my mistakes, hopefully. Hopefully you don't have to. Hopefully I don't have to. But let's go on to other things that happened this week outside of, I guess, YouTube and streaming and business and posting things and, I guess, content creation. Let's talk about something other than content creation. Let's talk about yard sale season, baby. It's back. I had no idea. Last week, I recorded this episode 1 week ago today. Today it's Friday, April 8th, 1:25 p.m., if you're wondering. You're watching this maybe on a Sunday or a Monday or maybe later in the week. I had no idea yard sale season was coming up. I would have talked about my excitement. My mother-in-law called me Friday night and she's like, hey, tomorrow is yard sale day in town if you want to come along. And I was like, heck yeah. So we did that, and I found some nice scores. You guys saw the video already on it here. Also made a Lego video where I shared Roxy grunting over here. Roxy Bear's laying here beside me, and I love hearing her breathe, but sometimes she does like like she's having the roughest day. I love sharing that kind of stuff that I find. I love the treasure hunts and the scores, and that video that I made, I feel like was an absolute banger. You were basically with us during the yard sales, but you got to skip all of the boring stuff. You just got to see the heat. So that was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see this yard sale season, how it pans out. There might be yard sales tomorrow. or there might not be, but the next weekend there certainly will be. So we're gonna keep going. My mother-in-law is gonna check into it because there's like almost like official, unofficial dates for all of the different communities, and that's what we do. We go to like the community yard sales, so where it's not just like you go to a yard sale and you go home. It's like, oh, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one. You guys have seen the videos, you know what it's like. But I have some pretty good success sometimes, and I find some really cool stuff, and it's pretty darn exciting. I don't know why I love it so much. I just love treasure hunting, I guess. And to find like some random box full of girls' toys and to pull out like a troll just as a joke on Clarkman and then look down and see a $17 minifigure there that only gets sold to you with 3 other minifigures for $1 is it you can see how that can be kind of like appealing or addicting or whatever. So I'm excited about that. And I'm sure I'll be reporting to you on all of our yard sale victories going forward, because there will be victories. You got to put it out there. You got to put it out there. You're going to find some cool stuff. But I've gotten skunked plenty of times. It happens. Best thing you can do in that case is find some good food along the way. If you find some good food, it makes everything better. Let's talk about things that I watched this week. Watched a movie called Stowaway on Netflix. Not sure I'd recommend it, but this general gist of it, the story is that these 3 people take off in a spaceship destined for Mars. Very long trip, as you can expect. Well, it just so happens to be that there's a 4th person that accidentally was on board too, a guy that did like maintenance or whatever for the launch. He was on there, and they come to determine that they don't have enough oxygen to get there. They only have enough for 2 to 3 people at this point because it damaged a CO2 filtration system or whatever. And they have to decide, like, what are we going to do? We can only afford to take 3 people. We got 4. New guy, you got to kill yourself or, whatever. And I won't spoil anything, but they have some difficult decisions to make, some things to work out. Think of the movie The Martian, only not nearly as good. That's what this is. It's a Netflix original, I think, or a Netflix produced movie. So if you have Netflix, you got nothing to lose by watching other than your time. Didn't really love the ending of it. It ends rather abruptly. And I don't know. It was worth one watch. I thought about it afterwards. I'm like, would I watch it again? Answer is no. Would I watch it that original time? Yeah, I kind of like space stuff. I like that kind of like, I don't know, exploration and like thinking about what it would be like to be in space. Speaking of that, I have something else to talk about with Watch Detect or Watch News or whatever we're calling this. But I want to talk about some oxygen-related thoughts that I had this week. I was thinking about if you were to run a marathon or just run in general, and you know how you start getting like your muscles start getting sore, you start running out of breath, so you're like breathing really heavily. What if you had an oxygen tank strapped to your back, full oxygen, and you were wearing an oxygen mask? Could you run indefinitely wearing like pure oxygen and that's all you're breathing? Because your muscles, with the lactic acid that in your muscles build up if you had nothing but oxygen pumping into your bloodstream, I don't know. It's like I really want to ask that question to somebody that has information on it. So if you're a scientist, and I don't want you just Googling it, I want this to come out of your brain. Like you already know this because I didn't Google it. What would happen if you went running with an oxygen tank on? This, like, I don't know if it wasn't necessarily the movie that made me think of it, although that oxygen is very important in that movie. I was talking to a friend on Instagram. He might even be listening to this. He's talking about how he was going to go run I guess it was a 5K last weekend, and he wanted this episode out, but before he ran the 5K, and I failed at that because Clark and I were playing Minecraft, and I was like, oh shoot, because he was going to listen to it. So this is my late apology to you. Now I know what late apology means on my list here. I just had the words late apology. I'm like, what am I apologizing for? It all comes back to me now. But sorry about that. But you also inspired me when you were talking about running. I mentioned like I would need an oxygen tank, and I was like, oh, what if I did have an oxygen tank? How far could I run? How fast could I run? Maybe we'll have to do an experiment in my 1,000-day journey. We'll see how far I can run with 100% oxygen strapped to my back. I don't know. Weird thoughts. We'll call it shower thoughts from Greg. Last thing I want to talk about before we get into listener feedback, which if you thought about leaving, don't you even friggin' dare. This is not the time to do that because listener feedback last week was awesome. You guys are killing it. It needed to make a comeback. Let's talk about the show that I'm obsessed with right now on HBO Max called Station 11. I just found it at random. I recognized the main character from it from another show that I watched called Halt and Catch Fire. And I was like, oh, I kind of like her. And then I read the description, And it's almost like true to life, but also kind of like fantasy, because it's about a pandemic hitting in 2020, but it's a flu, and the flu kills 999 out of 1,000 people. And it's about that happening and all of the situation around it with her as a young girl and the people that took her in and trying to survive that. And then it flash forwards to 20 years later, and then like surviving essentially after humanity is shut down. So there's like no working vehicles, electricity, all the modern conveniences that you know in life, the internet, Instagram, YouTube, all gone. And it's just people surviving. And it's really awesome. I'm 8 episodes deep out of 10 episodes at this point. At the time I'm watching this or making this, you're watching this. By the time you do watch this, I'll have this series done, and I'll have to tell you whether it's good or bad. But it's only 1 season so far. So I'm kind of scared because it's like, I'm going to have to wait, first of all. And then like, what if they don't continue this for some reason? What if like it never reaches its conclusion? I'd much rather find a show that's been around for like 10 years and you got like 6 seasons to go through and you're just like, bam, 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 bam. You're just binging it like a crazy man or woman. I'd much rather do that. But in this case, it's just 1 season. If you have HBO Max, give it a watch. I know some people don't like the post-apocalyptic stuff. I couldn't get Cody on board with it. She doesn't like that kind of stuff. And maybe the whole pandemic thing's hitting a little too hard or close to home because we are technically going through that right now, but not to this extent. Like if people are complaining about wearing masks when they go into Walmart, imagine a flu that like kills you pretty much instantly. And there's like a 99.99% chance you'll die from it. Let's talk about that. So give it a watch if you want to. If not, I get you. I've given you like the pros and cons though, so I'm in clear conscience. So let's now, I know we're getting a little deep into this episode. Let's go into listener feedback from this last week. In fact, I might do a bonus episode. Maybe I'll do that one over on the Patreons. There was one comment that I got here from the week before about live streaming of all things. And I would really love to cover that, but I think it may make this episode a little too long. So we'll see if we can hit that here. If not, I'll just do it. I'll just record a little extra thing. It'll give you some encouragement to go over there and check out my journal if you want to. Again, it's free. Don't worry about it. Let's just go in order here. I'm going to skip a few of them, but I'm going to hit some of these. We're going to do an order from not my favorite to least favorite, but from how quickly they posted from the time I ended the episode to now. Let's start with Dave's comment. He says, "You're 37. There's a couple comments like this. You're 37, I'm 54. Me and my daughter, she is soon to be 6. We love to watch your videos. At 37, you're a kid. Keep going. You're doing great." And there was a couple ones like that. I know Janelle had one like that too. She says, "You're 37. I'm 49 and 7 months away from 50. You're not old. I love that both myself and my grandson can watch and enjoy your channel. The only other channel that we can both watch is the Izzies. My grandson is just starting to like watching Curiosity Inc. with me. There's some good channels out there, and it's crazy and not easy to find ones that you can watch with your kid that you both enjoy. We have one that I can recommend to you guys. It's in the Lego space called Brick Science. Clark and I love that. We love Bobby Duke Arts. He only makes a video like every couple months, but like Clark and I like watching the art videos. We also watch 1000. That's another artist that we watch too. So art videos are very easy to watch together, but oftentimes kids, they want to watch the crazy stuff, you know, the crazies. And sometimes that's just, it's just a little too much. In fact, I think there's a comment coming up about that a little bit later, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So Dave, thank you for watching. Janelle, thank you for watching. Brickstar also had a comment similar to that. He says he was almost 39. He was 39, almost 40 when he posted his first YouTube video. So, I mean, it shows you that I'm not like worried about hitting 40. Like I'm not having a midlife crisis, but I'm using this as like a deadline for me to like do stuff because I have the opportunity to do it, right? Like when you start thinking about stuff now, you can change things later. But those comments just go to show me that there's plenty of life after that. But I want to try to like do what I can. I want to dominate this time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, whatever age you are, whether you're 37, 57, 107, now today's the day. What do you want to do? If you don't know what that is, just do something, you know, just make a journal, make a journal on Patreon. I don't know. Whatever. I wish I could give you advice. I'll tell you what, 1,000 days from now, I'll come back here and I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to hit your goals by the time you're in 1,000 days. Maybe I'll even write a book. I think the title, How to Achieve All Your Goals in 1,000 Days, might be a little too long for people. Usually it's like, how to lose 20 pounds in 14 days. I'll be like, how to achieve your wildest dreams in 1,000 days. It's too long. I got to cut it down. Anyways, let's go on to the next one here. This is from Zero the Hero. It says, you lost a couple subscribers. I was talking last week about how, I keep calling it Missing Pieces, but Greg's World Podcast is detrimental to the channel, but I feel like I need to put this here because it needs a place, it needs a home, and the people that watch it, I think, really do enjoy it. It says, they were never really a true follower and wanting to listen, watch, or be a part of the channel. Really enjoy the content. You and Clark Bring, myself, and my daughter love watching your channels. This is like... There's a theme here. I love that multiple generations can watch. So it's nice to be able to sit back and watch quality YouTube that's not all about shock and awe. Are you sure? Shocking. I want to be, can I be more shocking? Thanks again, and seeing you run this channel makes me want to start one with my family. Have a great week, sir. Sir, I encourage you, whether you are going to put the videos out to the world or not, or you're just going to put them on your own little blog that no one can see except for one person, Jesse. Thank you. Just start recording stuff, because this time passes so quickly. I don't know how old your kids are, but I noticed, just like in the time that I've had here with Clark, man, the 7 years have flown by. And like sometimes I'll sit back and watch one of our old videos. I'm like, look at that little guy. Holy smokes. It's so cool to have it. It really is. So if you record anything, just record videos of your kids. It'll be cool to look back on someday. I wish we had camcorder when I was a kid. I would have loved to see like what things were like. But my parents didn't have a lot of money, and camcorders were expensive back then. Not everyone had one in their pocket that they could record 4K video with. But it'd be cool to see like what your parents were like, what you were like, whether your sister, was really as nasty to you as you thought she was. Whatever the case is, I encourage you, my friend, Zero the Hero, start recording some stuff, dude. Let's see here. We're going to go on to the next one here. I got Janelle's. This next one. This says, Real Poka Satsu. Wait, I'm going to get this name right. Real Poka Satsu. I think I got it. I like this comment a lot. It says, when you were talking about viewers and how long they stay and tune in for, I felt like I had to say this. I associate this podcast with doing my dishes. Oh, so you dread this podcast then? Like when this podcast comes on, your tears start welling up in your eyes. It says, even though I live alone, I still go through a surprising amount of them weekly. Dishes, by the way. I never liked doing dishes. When I started listening to this podcast as Missing Pieces, it was enough to keep my attention, but not enough to distract me from getting the job done. Longer episodes especially help me out since my attention span is strange. I just see the new upload and think, Greg's saying it's time to do those dishes. Let's go ahead and get it done. It usually helps me keep track of things. Thank you for that. I love that. I love that. I mean, it sucks to be associated with something you dread, but I'm happy to keep you company while you're doing your dishes. And I think at this point, we're pretty deep into this. Your dishes are probably sparkly right now. Thank you for allowing me into your life. I appreciate it. Jedi Lego Arts, who changed their name specifically because I kept messing it up, says, so glad you're still doing this. Such a great creation of yours. I know it's your business, but it's probably best you don't analyze views too much. Tell that to me like this past week. I'm 47. You're not old. If you're old, then I'm definitely old. I refuse to definitely be old. A win of the week. We have win of the weeks, by the way, guys. Coming back. If you guys want to share a win of the week, it's like the greatest thing that you accomplished this week. My win of the week was starting to journal. I'm going to consider that my win of the week. What was yours? After months of painting my house and decluttering a bit and taking apart and packing many, many Lego sets, don't. I finally got around to phoning a real estate agent. I was really worried about the agent's reaction to my style, but he walked in and said, wow, this is cool. I've never been called cool before. It's been on for a week and has already had an offer. I'm exhausted, but feeling optimistic. Congratulations. Congratulations on accomplishing a goal of yours. I want to have that feeling. I want to have that feeling of like doing something that you've been wanting to do for a long time. You do it and then like results. You should your book could be How to Sell Your House in 7 days. That could be your book instead of mine, which is How to Achieve Your Goal in 1,000 Days. Mythical Magic says, I'm 15 and still considered a kid, but I love watching all 3 of your channels. Thank you very much. I won't read the rest because it's too nice. And I don't want this just to be all about me. I want it to be about you guys. Another one. I'm 14. I love watching these podcasts every week. See, I was like hating on the kids a little bit. I'm like, no kids want to watch this. Not at 14. You're not a kid though. You're an adolescent. I appreciate you younger folk tuning into this 37-year-old dude talking about things and stuff. I'm glad you guys are here. And don't let me talk you down. This next one, I was literally have a search thing up to do this. Nowhere Girl says, hey Greg, check out the video David Bowie and why you should never play to the gallery. It's only about a minute long, and is right in line with a lot of the stuff you're hinting at in this video. It isn't my video. I just thought it was something you'd find interesting considering your relationship with your audience as a content creator. Thanks for these podcasts. I enjoy the format. I'm going to do a cut right now because I'm going to go watch that video and I'm going to report back to you right now. That was actually really good. It was about not making, as an artist, which debatable in my case, but not making things for other people's expectations. And I feel like I've been pretty good at that. I feel like my Lego channel is very much that, where it's like I make the content that I want to make. I make the stuff that I'm passionate about and that I want to do, not necessarily chasing views. I've never chased views. But that's a good lesson. I appreciate that. And again, that's why Missing Pieces or Greg's World Podcast, it's now known in some circles. That's why it's here, right? It's here because this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. And I say this a lot. Your audience will find you. I tell this to people when they're thinking about starting a channel. If they're asking me, like, what should I do? This isn't working. Your audience will find you. Do what you're passionate about. And that's essentially what David Bowie is saying. Very, very good advice, my friend. Thank you for sharing that. Nowhere Girl. I appreciate that. Next one comes from Mike C. He says, I'm 37 and about 900 days from 40. We're on the same path here, my friend. He says, after this, I'm on board for developing some personal goals before the milestone. Looking forward to see how you document the journey, and maybe I can use that as motivation to keep myself on track. I love it. Let's go. Next one is from my good buddy Builderbuds YouTube. He says, as a content creator myself and a huge fan of everything you put out, it makes me feel better knowing that someone like you that has found so much success in YouTube still struggles with what they are creating and how the world is consuming it. As always, thank you for your authenticity and for another excellent episode. If you guys want to listen to his podcast, this is great too. I think I'm always inside my head a lot of times. Like I'm always analyzing, probably over-analyzing things. I'm a very analytical person. Like if I have a conversation with someone, I'll think about that hours later. I'll think like, oh, how did that go? Like, did I say anything dumb? Like, I don't know. It's a dangerous place to be, but it's also good because when you are thinking about where you're at, where you're going, you can make corrections. It's better than just being like, in my opinion, all willy-nilly. First time I think I've ever said that in 120 episodes. Being all willy-nilly and just going with the flow. I don't like that. I like being in control of my destiny. The problem is when you don't necessarily know where your destiny is or how to get there, you're just always trying to figure that thing out. And I bounce it off a lot of people, like whether it be my wife or my friends online. It's tough. It really is. And sometimes you make decisions and it's the wrong thing, but at least you're moving forward. Like this week, for example, I moved to Twitch. Is that a bad idea? I don't know yet. But for right now, with the information that I had, and you only have so much information without knowing the future, you don't have a crystal ball. It's the path that I want to go down. Might be the wrong one, but at least I'm walking. I think that's important. So thank you for the comment there. Next one comes from Martin at Our Brick Life. He says, not quite 1,000 days after 40 yet here, but I've calculated that on July 29th will each be 884 days from 40. You and me, you until me since. That's very interesting. Like it's almost like we're revolving around something and we're both like at the same place. Another enjoyable episode, my friend. I look forward to hearing all about the next 1,000 days. I'm happy to share it, Martin, if you're happy to be here with me. Next one and last one comes from Nick the Lego Brick. This says, hello, Greg. When you mentioned you always wanted to get to that next thing, it made me think maybe you should learn an instrument. I play guitar and French horn. I've always have something to work on, whether that next thing be a music piece you want to perfect or just improving your skills. I think it would be great for you. Thanks for the awesome podcast. It's so crazy. I'm so glad this is the final one too, because I wanted to talk about this in particular. When I saw you post this, I was like, this can't just be a coincidence. I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube of piano covers, like people doing songs on piano. And I'm like, how amazing would it be to learn piano? I almost feel like it would be a disservice to myself to, in my life, with the abilities that I have, which are having ears and hands, and the ability to see music or sheet music or whatever, to learn, I suppose, more than anything. It would be a tragedy to not learn how to do piano. And I feel like that's something that I could do. Something that Clark could do. We could do as a family, potentially. We could all learn together. And I think that'd be really great. And I also think, like, what could that set Clark up for in life if we did this? So I actually did a little bit of recon, and obviously, like, big, heavy wooden pianos are expensive. Scared the bejesus out of me, you computer. But what about just like a keyboard, like a weighted key, 88 key keyboard? I looked on Amazon and I can get one, I think like a Yamaha for like $500. Now, this wouldn't be amazing, but it would be a great thing to try and to start on, or maybe even find one locally like used or something, because I'm sure people get these things all the time and then they're like, oh crap, I haven't used that in 17 years. It's time to get rid of it. Maybe even a piano that way. If I could find it, that would probably be the ultimate thing. Find a used piano that someone just wants gone, hire a moving team, a couple guys just to go get it and bring it over. And then I have a piano and we can do that. So I've been considering that, and I would make some cool content too, because I could like do some live streams, maybe on Twitch, probably not. I don't even know if maybe, I don't know. We do something with it because, content is my life. Playing piano, learning songs. I could use the music in my videos. It could like pay off in spades, I feel like. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I feel like that could be a really cool thing for 1,000 days. Like what could I learn in 1,000 days? That's the real question. It isn't just about how am I going to build this bridge towards my future income, or where am I going to invest my time professionally. It's also about like, how do I want to grow? What little hobbies do I want to take up? What passions do I want to pursue? Because there has to be more to life than just making videos. As much as I love doing that, and it is my passion, I feel like if I were to die and just say all I did in my life was just like make Lego videos or gaming videos or documenting my life, as cool as that is and as awesome of a legacy as it is to have those things, I want there to be more than that. I want those things that I'm documenting to be like epic. And I just have to find out what those things are. And I hope in the next 990 some days from whatever you're listening to this, or maybe it's later, I hope to be able to discover those things and to share those as I go through them. And maybe, again, sometimes the path we go down won't be the right one for us, but you gotta walk. You gotta walk. So let's put our shoes on. Let's take that walk together. Maybe you were walking the whole time that I was making this. If that's the case, I'm proud of you. And I'm proud of everybody that survived this now that we're this deep into it. I appreciate you all tuning in. If you have any listener feedback you'd like to share next week, I would love to hear it. It makes the podcast a little bit longer for anyone that's doing their dishes out there. But I'm just really enjoying things right now. I feel like I'm in a really good place. And I really love this whole 1,000-day thing, because it's really given me like this drive to do. And that's my plan. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a glorious week ahead of you. Stay tuned to my response, which will be over on my Patreon journal, I suppose. If you want to hear the response to the other comment, which is actually about live streaming, I'm going to record that right now and have that out. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next podcast.